says night.
Wow.
Hey,
It worked. Welcome to the Teachers Pep Rally, everyone. If you missed our last episode, we welcomed Fred back and just spent some time getting ready for the holiday break, which we're back from. So please go back and check it out on your favorite audio platform or by visiting our YouTube channel. Please like it, share it, and review it. That helps us keep the lights on.
Please.
It makes sense that we should spend some time getting geared back up for the second semester. We acknowledge the mid-year slump many educators face and the importance of recharging motivation for the second half of the school year. Join us in the conversation to find tips and strategies for finishing the second half of the school year with gusto. So you're all back, right, Fred?
Yep. Oh, no. Monday. I was in faculty meetings today, but we start back Monday.
So you're back, but the students don't come back.
Correct.
Okay. Wow. Well,
yeah, I know.
And you, Pete?
We had 2 days professional learning last week, and then we started with the kids this Monday. So
yep, same with our school district. Before we continue the conversation, a couple things before we hopped on. What currently is happening right now? There are the fires that are happening in Los Angeles, out in California, into various neighborhoods, and a lot of schools have had to close because of it, and so. We just want to make sure that we just kind of send out our hearts and thoughts with anyone who is dealing with that natural disaster. And also, of course, our first responders. I mean, there's been so many videos just showing the people are out there just trying to save people and pets and, as many things as they can. So our thoughts are out there to them.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then on an upside, our bud Pete has
I didn't know what you were going to say.
You've got some stuff to celebrate. So I know you don't toot your own horn. I know. I wanted to make sure your PSB Creative Arts education was nominated in 3 different categories.
We were.
Kind of in our big local, I'll call it the local area. And so there's 3 areas. I've got it in front of me. Kids in Education Performing Arts Program. Yay. Best in Theater Entertainment, yay, and Services for Nonprofit.
That's us. Yep.
Yeah.
They were voting for over a month. We found out this weekend. So we're like, but we're with some amazing other organizations. What an honor. I don't even know who nominated us, and we had no notification of being nominated. And gosh, we don't even have a theater or a home office we have a home office, but like outside of our home, we don't even have any of that yet. And here we are being recognized. And when we see some of these other wonderful organizations that we're on the same list with, it's amazing. So
it's impressive. Either way, like so proud of you. Hopefully you're proud of yourself and all the people that work hard for you and with you and the kiddos all through the years. That's amazing.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, congratulations, Pete. That was impressive.
So if you're listening, go to Meriden Daily Journal online, mdj.com, and vote.
Yeah, if you're with us live, and Fred just put it in the chat for you. So easy clicks.
Thanks,
yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Nice. All right, so even though we're just gearing up for this second semester, do you feel slumpy?
Slumpy.
I do. I'll just say I do. Yeah.
And why is that, Aaron? What's making you do?
You know what it is? It's when you take that nice little break, which we are very fortunate to have, and it's very much needed. But when it's enough of a time where I think you truly can take some time to decompress and get away from the hustle and bustle and hopefully the emails and all that, so that when it's time to go back, it's almost like when you are on a great, let's say, exercise spree, you know, trying to get into better shape, and you're going and going, you're doing great, and then for whatever reason you don't do it for a couple of days or whatever, it's so much harder to get back on it. And I think that's it. It's just that the treadmill stopped for a minute, and now I'm like, oh boy, I got to get back on.
Get the engine going again.
Yeah.
And
How
the
do you
break was-
prime that engine?
Yeah.
The break was a little bit shorter for us, so you know, you have to have that window of time just to. It takes time to decompress. It takes time to relax. So you had the holiday, and then okay, breathe, and then boom, we went right back to it. Yeah. Go ahead, Fred.
I was gonna say, were there any days where you just did nothing?
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, literally nothing. Like, did you actually do it?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found myself like, so I had an extra heavy teaching load this past fall. I took on some responsibilities because we're adjusting to a few changes. And it was one of those moments where I was really, really in overdrive all the way up to the very end. And then a little bit beyond, because you're kind of housekeeping some grades, assignments coming in late. And it was, I just was on the computer nonstop. It was, you know, when I said to my family the one day, I texted them in our little group thread. I'm like, guess what I did today? I said, I did absolutely nothing.
Right.
And I just we were already into the holiday mode. So all the decorating was all the major decorating was done. You know, family was starting to come together, but it was one of those times where I just kind of like did nothing. I just bounced around and watched a little TV, read a little bit, got outside. Would have liked to have run. It was too cold. But there was that was all. I just did nothing. It was weird though. It's a weird feeling, isn't it? So because you're so used to that pace going so fast, and then all of a sudden you're trying to give yourself permission to just stop for a moment. And
Absolutely.
then, you know, and then you let your mind go into something else. You're trying to figure out, well, what should I be doing? So yeah, that's what it was.
Pete, you had PD when you came right back. So
right.
What if and this is your perspective, but how would you say, looking around with your peers, what do you think? Was it everyone energized and ready to go, or did you see more people that were just kind of like, oof, I'm, you know, trying to gear back up? And there's nothing wrong with either way, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely love our supervisor. She's been with us as her second year, and she's amazing. She takes a lot of our feedback and acts upon it, makes changes. She's very generous with her time, with the funds that are allotted to her, and she truly cares. She's always available. So I'm very thankful of that. And I do go to the PDs with open arms and open mind, and you know, let's get something out of this. What I think has happened. The best value that I've seen in the last couple of years is how we get to talk with our vertically aligned feeder schools. So I get to communicate with the middle school music teacher and theater teacher and orchestra band course, and then also the high schools, to the point where we've tried to plan cluster concerts. We've tried to plan different events. And I absolutely love how we're able to communicate with each other. That's something that has not been the norm in the past.
Yeah.
There's actual scheduled time. There's conscious, like, we want you guys to just connect and talk and let's build up vertically. So that is wonderful. Sure, there's always a presenter that something goes a little long or it's a little dry or this or that. You know, take those two. But I generally, I like our situation right now with the PDs when it's music related and all that. At the school level, you know, a lot, that's a pro and con. A lot of the stuff directly involves me, and a lot of the stuff doesn't. So I'm just there to be supportive and help and be a fair playing person on the team. As long as it's relevant, that's all that matters. As long as it's relevant, it's not going to add more to us. Yeah, let's freshen something up. Let's not stress. Like, you know, January to March is my most insane time of the year. So when the holiday break was going on, I'm being very conscious of that, and I am in a recharge mode. I have to be. Because I said I could kill myself now working crazy, getting this to-do list done, or I could pull back a little bit, try to enjoy family. Doesn't matter what I do, because that day back to school is going to start. That roller coaster ride is going to start. So I might as well be better for it. So I was very conscious of that. This break's like, I'm pulling back.
Good.
Does your roller coaster have any loops?
Lots.
Lots of loops.
It's always, it's funny though. It is like a roller coaster though, right? It is. We talk about that a lot in so many different things where it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, and you always have to be taking the most out of those high points because they'll shore you up for those low points.
Right.
Yeah.
When do you guys think? And again, this is just our opinions, but when do you think the burnout tends to start to be apparent on teachers and the students in the school year? Is it now? Is it as we get closer to the end, but we're not just quite at the end? Is there a certain month or time period that you guys find that it's people are hitting that fatigue and that, that frustration level?
I think we're approaching that window of time.
Yeah.
I do. I think the IEPs, they really shoot up a lot. There's a lot more meetings, a lot of prep for testing and stuff coming up. It takes a while to get the ball rolling in the beginning of the year. Then you have the holidays, right?
Yep.
And then the end of the year gets kind of wrapped up with all sorts of events and things. So
Yeah,
January to spring break time, that's really, I think that's a lot of the meat of the school year.
Oh, yeah. When I taught high school seniors, I mean, I taught different levels, but when I had specific senior classes,
Right.
I used to say to them, and it was almost like a mantra. I was like, just get to spring break. Let's just get to spring break. You can do it. Let's just get to spring. You know what I mean? Like that was the goal. And then from there, I knew we're good. But if I could get you to spring break between whatever credits you still needed to graduate, whatever you needed to do for my specific class or whatever was going on in your life, I was like, just get to spring break. If we can get you there, then we can deal with whatever, for sure.
it is though. I think I've shared on a prior episode or two my phrase of calling it the gray. Like this is that we kind of head into that gray period, February and March, and that's really that lull. From a higher ed perspective, I could share this with everybody. Like, what is our ups and downs? So here we are, we're prepping, right? If you're fine tuning really at this point, getting ready for that first day of classes, which for me will be next Monday. There's a lot of excitement around that, fresh faces, a lot of returning students, obviously, because it's the second half of the academic year. And then you begin the press. And I want to say for us, you're right, Aaron, to that spring break period. So you continue to get everybody warmed up, get everybody going. Then you get into the grind, you're getting into your team projects, you're getting into all that stuff. And then when you hit spring break, which is still for us winter, which it's kind of a misnomer. Penn State has always had a very early spring break. So we hit that at the midway point. And then when you come back, it's like a rocket ride. It's so, Pete, to that reference of the roller coaster, I think of like March to spring break as the climb up the hill. And then when you get over that, it's a downhill plunge. And because you're getting ready for graduation, you're getting ready for award ceremonies. You're trying to wrap up some other school issues, meetings, like you were saying. But I think that's right around week 10 is when it starts to hit again. Just got to get through it now. Projects they start to become evidently dysfunctional teams. I mean, projects, they start flying apart. People aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then before you know it, there's all that kind of stuff going on. But then you get just tired. Now you're grading more, you're, trying to get more feedback. And then you start to realize I'm not quite getting to where I thought I wanted to get the course to. Yeah. Like you're not going to get to that. And then you have to make that decision of, okay, do I just press the pedal and go? Or do I just kind of like, let's just get through this?
Right. Do I need to revamp a few things?
Right. And that's the other thing too. I think that's a great conversation we should have like later on this spring. And that would be, like when you make those notes about how to improve your course or your class or your classroom, when do you do that? Like, because like, how it is. So once we come out of the school year, we just were like, I got to take a break. And then you want to get yourself in gear. Like do we do that in July? Do you do it in August? Well, you guys are back in school in August. So do you do it in June? Do you do it in July? But yeah, that's the typical cycle for me.
That's interesting because and I don't know if we'll be able to articulate this very well, but what you said, I kind of envisioned something, I'm always constantly thinking about the role of educator, right? And sometimes how definitely the system or even the leader, depending on the leadership of where you are, can have a huge effect in your mood or your success or your motivation or your, whatever. But then there's the other half I always see as sometimes we're the ones that affect that as well, right? Good or bad. And so I'm curious if it would be helpful sometime, and maybe the three of us can sit down and do this, no matter what your schedule looks like for higher education or, K through 12, of almost creating blocks or phases, Fred, because I think you're right. I think there's certain time periods, no matter what your curriculum's timeline looks like, of when you probably should consider this, that, or the other, right? Right now, you should be gearing up and getting them into the mode of best practices, setting them up for success, routine, and all that. But then you gear into, okay, now we're really getting past just the formative and we're getting into the summative. You know what I mean? I think that would be interesting. And then by the time you get to a certain period, maybe 3/4 in, you've got to kind of realize you've probably gotten them as far as you can get with a couple little polishings. But at this point, still keeping them busy in a good way and in learning, what can you do from that point till the end and be realistic about it? Because sometimes I think for ourselves and for our students, we make it harder than it needs to be.
There's no doubt about that. That's an interesting point too, is, like for my, like as you're saying all that, I'm trying to think of it like in terms of how much time or when does that happen? And when you look at, once again, looking at a higher ed schedule, you're a Tuesday, Thursday routine, or you're a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or a Monday, Wednesday, now web Friday. Like so we're seeing, so like where you have to get really creative is how do you meld your content with those formative pieces, as you kind of alluded to. So in other words, if I'm teaching a class on databases this semester, how much of my classroom time should I be also incorporating how to be a good teammate, how to work with, how to collaborate better, and how do you kind of parallel that stuff, like as you're doing it, and that's where the real fun comes into play. I've always enjoyed teaching, but to your, like, I always try to figure out, like, something always feels like it has to give, at least in a higher ed setting. Maybe that's on my own short-sightedness of it. But
no, I think that's across the board.
No.
Across the board.
Even if you're doing like Monday through Friday, like you are all there every day, like in that sense, in front of your students, that is.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes my windows are so short, and we're restricted in a way. But but you're seeing it too.
Yeah, and I think too, it would just help for peace of mind as the educator of just kind of deciding what's the momentum you want at this point or this stage of the school year, and what are your expectations. And are they rational, right? And then if you determine they're not, then you can adjust while still, preparing your students to be successful, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So what are some strategies you've used or seen others use effectively to stay motivated during the school year's midpoint? So around this time, what are some things that you've done or you've seen other people do effectively to just kind of help stay motivated? I'll go first. For me, Fred, when you called this time period through till almost March as the gray period, I could not agree with you more. It took me a long time to realize that this time of year I struggle. And I think it's because it literally is gray outside most days, right? A lot of times you're in these cement block buildings, these schools that already are kind of dark and maybe not so many windows or whatever. So it adds to that. Everyone's cold and they're piled up in all kinds of jackets and things. And sometimes you can't even see the students. They're so, nowadays, Fred, in high school at least, Pete, do you see this? They literally come wrapped in like blankets and things. It's like, it's insane. They literally are cocooning like this time of year.
What? Are you serious?
Oh totally. Sweatpants, sweatshirt, cocooning,
slippers,
fluffy socks with the Crocs or the slippers.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It looks like they have come to join you in your living room.
You're kidding me. No, I haven't seen that yet at the higher ed level, but I mean, I definitely have my forever summer people.
We are in that phase.
I have a student, and if he's listening, shout out to Jake K. You know who you are. he is the first forever summer guy. He's graduating this. We graduated in
Is
December.
he the one that wears shorts all the time? Because there's
All
always,
the time.
Yep,
He will
there's
not
always
come to
that
class
kid.
if he's in shorts. And it would be like it is today
Yeah.
in northeastern Pennsylvania. It is, as we speak, as we record this, it's now 11 degrees. So he would be there in shorts.
Oh my
So-
gosh. But I think for me, it was just recognizing, and it took me a while to realize there was a pattern here every year that this was the time of year that I just struggled and my mood struggled and you know what I mean? And so what I started to do is just create little moments of like sunshine or happiness, whether it was bringing something bright or a special lamp into my classroom
yeah.
or just, incorporating more music for a couple of months just to kind of get us, kind of moving and happy. But for me, that was really effective was first of all, recognizing, and it took me a while to recognize that this gray period is a tough one for me, but there's little things to maybe do to try to kind of step out of it.
For sure.
Yeah.
I can't overestimate the importance of sleeping, your regular sleeping habits. And that you get that revenge procrastination sleep where it's like, no, this was an awful day and I'm not going to sleep yet. I want my time, and and then the next morning you feel even worse. And then yeah. So you gotta make sure you're trying to go to sleep around the same time. A little bit of fitness, something for you, so important. I am by far fit, but I am active and I do certain things regularly. And then also the importance of having some sort of hobby. Before we went on, I was talking about something that I do in my little free time and something I do with my son. Some sort of hobby. So you get that little break, that little snippet of, okay, my time, here's a little bit of a respite. Okay, clear my mind a little. I did something I enjoy. Now I'm back to work. And then something that I've been very conscious of and just did it yesterday is being okay saying no when you can. I'm being asked, can you do this? Can you set up for this? Can you help us with this? Can you da-da-da-da-da? And yesterday it was one thing I said, I don't think I can do that. I'm so sorry. So that helps too. And I think you feel good afterwards. Say, wow, I stood up for myself and I'm acknowledging that I'm spread thin. I'm acknowledging my schedule's tight already. And I'm putting it out there that other people can know too. So I thought about that. And then I took a little note from like the Imagineering way. They have a saying in Imagineering, it is never done. And I've just been saying to myself more and more and more and more, it is never done. There's 24 hours in the day. I'm working most of it. Family's my priority. And I'm doing everything I can. And it's okay that it's not going to get done.
Yeah.
So those are some things to keep in mind too, to help through the grayer time of the year.
Yeah,
those are all really good. Yeah. If I were to add anything to that, Aaron, do you have something you want to add to that list or anything?
No, please.
The one I would say is making sure that we're interacting with our colleagues.
Yep.
I think that's something that we could easily fall into those ruts too, where you get in that tunnel and you're pressing and you want to get in, you want to do your thing or whatever. But that I don't know if you want to call it a walkabout. Obviously, our schedules and our days are different no matter what level we're at. But taking that time, a 10-minute, 15-minute interaction with a peer down the hall, the next class over or whatever, just to talk. And that's a great way to just to keep that going. I had another fantastic on the cuff meeting walking down the hall the other day. And it was one of those opportunities that they start off as lighthearted conversation. How was your break? How was your holidays? And then it went into like some really, really interesting discussions. And both of us walked away going, yeah, I'm going to try that in the class. It was one of those moments.
Good.
So I think that's the other thing I would add to everything you said, Pete. It was spot on. Exercise, hobbies, interactions. I got a question though. How about the time change? I mean, it's still super dark in the morning. That's also kind of, when you talk about that sleep cycle, Pete,
right?
That impacts me. Because normally, like
after a time change, there's more accidents. There's more heart attacks. There's all sorts of stuff that goes down.
Oh, wow.
That's well documented. Yeah. Fred, work on that.
I am.
Help us change that, Fred.
I'll be changing my watch. I'll be late for everything. So
exactly.
Early.
Yeah, I guess you could.
With teams, everybody on my team, we're all at the similar stage in life, and we're all going through stuff with family members,
Mm.
like heavy duty life stuff, and
Yeah.
a lot of family members that are not not local, and there's a lot of, we're all taking turns traveling, going to see this sick family member, helping this one with surgery, helping this one find possibly a care facility, all sorts of things, and it just helps to know somebody has your back. You could just stop by and talk and say, hey, I just got this text, I'm not going to be here the rest of the week. And then that person says, don't worry about it, I got it, we're covered, we'll make this arrangement, I'll cover this, we're good with that. It makes such a difference when you find that tribe in your building and everybody's looking out for you, and you have a chance to reciprocate it. Really, really valuable there, Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really a great reminder too. I mean, for me, with my 3 older ones, moving on in their careers, we're dealing with elder care, and you're right. We're that generation, I think, that's experiencing something that's really somewhat new. Whether you want to call it the sandwich generation or not, there's a lot of stress that comes with that. And we love them dearly, but the decision making, the pressure you put on yourself, and all that is big. And when you talk to other people, you quickly find out, yeah, you're it's not a unique problem, and it really does help to talk to other people who are, trying to figure it out, because it's different for everybody.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. How about the students? How do you guys find ways to help energize your students again, or get the momentum back when they come back from this big break? It's
Short,
tough.
achievable goals.
Yes.
Near-term goals.
Yeah.
Give them stuff that they can, be assigned and get done quickly, and make them feel like they're making progress.
Yeah.
That's one way I kind of hit that early on.
Yeah. I think if you overwhelm them too quickly, then you're gonna have to work harder to peel that back versus, slowly for the next couple of days or a week.
Yeah.
Getting them back into it, and just little goals. I've been meeting with a bunch of different students in high school from all over, and you could just see it on their faces, and some of them are like, yeah, it's been kind of a rough week getting back, and some of them are like, yeah, I'm doing okay, I'm tired, so it's just, I think, also just reminding ourselves that the kids are feeling it too, the adults, the young adults, the children, they're feeling it too, so just be mindful of everyone.
I've been trying to. Okay, Fred.
No, I was gonna say, Pete, what do you do then, like from a musical standpoint, to make that better?
Yep. So I got the littles, I got K through 5, and I'm keeping in mind that a lot of these kids haven't been going out. Maybe they weren't out a lot during the holiday break. There was probably a lot of screen time. Maybe they were driving in a car, flying around, visiting, whatnot. But now maybe they're not going out for recess. So they're cooped up in the classroom, and the teacher's trying to get, hey, we're going over expectations, we're going over this, we're going over our goals, and we're plowing ahead. When they go to enrichment, I can't be like, oh, I'm the music teacher. I have to be like, this is their chance to breathe. This is their chance to goof off a little bit, burn off some steam. Let's laugh a little bit. I could figure out a way to cover my standards through almost any activity. So yeah, there's still music making, and it's still enjoyment, but not enjoyment. They're still learning, but I want to make sure there's enjoyment there, there's engagement, and that they're active. I have kindergartners and first graders moving around nonstop.
Yeah.
It's so important. So then their brains are going to be a little bit more activated for when they go back to the classroom, and they have to sit in a chair for a little bit longer. And it's okay if they can't go out to recess. And it's more fun for me. I like that. I like interacting with the kids on that level.
Yeah.
So all sorts of activities. I wouldn't say just games. It's not games, but a lot of movement, a lot of acting, a lot of interacting with each other. Also, some of those kids haven't seen each other. They haven't even seen other kids. So I want to let them, hey, how you doing? Let's do this. Let's do this project together. Let's play this song together. Let's play this game together. Let's act out this play together. And I think hopefully when they go back to the classroom, they're going to be more in the right lane to learn the stuff that they really need to as well.
Yeah. Yep. Some kids are going to have some anxiety about coming back, right?
Yeah,
like
I've seen it.
It's enough time where they are like, oh, some of the stuff from when they start at the beginning of the year might socially creep back in, right? Little anxiety of, Are my
We,
friends
we
still going to be
always
there?
have situations. We have runners. We have kids that won't get out of their car. We have kids that get out of the car and then they dart away from us
Yeah.
on those first 2 days back from a break.
Yep.
Oh,
It is a
wow.
very real adjustment for them, no
Yeah.
doubt.
It is. Yeah. It's just long enough to where it feels a little daunting for some
Yep.
coming back. Yeah.
I
And
think
then
I
there's
might have been a
others who
runner.
they just can't wait. They just-
Wait, you're saying they're running into the school or they're running
they're
away from the
running
school?
into the school. Maybe not to
I've
learn.
seen both.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I used to run away from the school.
I've
So
seen both.
Yeah, there's both. And I would say too, Pete, like that's a great reminder. I truly think even in higher education and or if you're teaching high schoolers or middle schoolers even, I think it's important to incorporate that movement, that fun, that laughter, the socialization. I think that that's really important to make sure you do. And guarantee as an educator, you're gonna get just as much as enjoyment out of it as they are, as your students are.
Yep.
you know, you're saying that when you said anxiety, Aaron, the one thing that just popped in my brain were my seniors. I've encountered some of my seniors this past year who they're realizing it's coming to an end, and the next step is, the real world, the job world, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And you do find yourself having more sidebar conversations, and you're reassuring them, making sure that they're polishing everything they need to be polishing, interviewing skills and resumes, and making sure that they're getting those resumes out there, and then that proper correspondence that goes along with that. You're reminding them of that, like, hey, don't forget to do this, because they're getting it. Some of them get it from their parents who have that kind of professional background, but we also have a lot of first generation college students who are, this is all new to them. Their parents everything's still really new in their family setting, and then so you kind of remind them to do that. So there's that anxiety, but it's also just, you find yourself doing a lot of coaching. Just get ready. And then, what is really exciting, though, you talk about that motivation thing coming back around to the teacher. What starts to motivate me back again is when you get the feedback from those students who now getting the job offers.
Yes.
And then they're coming to you and they're saying, like, now what do I do? And, hey, do the pro con list, do this, you start to help them understand. That's when, for me as an educator, it really starts to come to a head, and you really appreciate your role and the influence that you have over them to some degree. But then there's also the other side where they're still looking, and they're going to have to go back home to their couches and stuff like that. But their time will come.
Right.
That's it. Yep. Everyone's got to figure that out, and some figure it out quicker than others.
Yeah. Right.
And that's okay. That's okay. So the last part of this framework of this conversation, if you will, that we had kind of looked at talking about was, the importance of leadership and how our leaders and I think, we have had lots of people quote Brene Brown, who says everyone's a leader. So take that term however you want, can create a culture of well-being, or maybe even it's a culture of understanding of this time period. Like, what are some things that you would love to see leaders adopting or doing right now?
Oh, I want to jump on this.
Go.
So for those that don't know, I've been going around talking a lot about AI, and I have another couple of speaking opportunities talking about the use of AI in various niches. And in doing that research, I've been seeing a lot of organizations have been sharing some information about, their use of AI. And when they run these surveys, they'll ask their employees, are you using some of these AI chatbots? And what they're getting is a lot of, no, I'm not using it, but they are. And one of the things that I shared in a meeting today was, we have a culture, we have a mindset with our culture, very institutionalized mindset, not in a mental health institution, but in a large organization where it seems to foster a certain kind of behavior. But if they want to change that behavior, they need to start recognizing and rewarding. And that's what these organizations, these companies are starting to do, is when they find out these people are using innovative technologies like some of these chatbots, they're starting to recognize and reward those people.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts to break out of that, starts to create a new norm, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I would love to see our organization do. Penn State University, whatever college, whatever school you're at, is I'd like to see leaders take more definitive steps in rewarding innovative thinking, and not in just these small trite circles or these subcommittees or these more in a broader sense, because we all have those organizations that recognize us and using technology or anything like that to improve education. But I would like to see organizations change their mindset on certain technologies, because I'm not saying it has to always be with AI, but reward innovation and reward innovative thinking and thinking out of the box and breaking some glass instead of being so risk averse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
That's great. That's great. How about you, Pete?
I was going to ask you.
Me?
Yeah.
Gosh, I think it's just being authentic. Like just trying to everyone just be authentic. It's sometimes difficult to see leaders be one way in one situation and maybe be a different way in another situation. So just be authentic and supportive and I don't know. I think sometimes we take things so seriously at work, whether it's in the education realm or whatever. And at the end of the day, Pete, you were kind of talking about this of just, having each other's back and letting people know you're there for them. I think that's the most important thing. It's going back to that human connection and just, yes, our jobs are very important and we've been put into positions to support people's futures and help them support in their learning. And a lot of times we also end up helping people in just their personal lives or in some really bad, dark moments and celebrating some really great ones. So at the end of the day, I just think it's leading in remembering that we're all humans in this and that if we can just try to find enjoyment in the day to day, all the other stuff will follow and be okay. So that's what
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a great reminder. You really can't, I don't think we could ever stop saying that, being the authentic self, like, and ultimately explaining what it means. Like, I think that's something that has to be, we see it and hear it a lot, like within our communities, right?
Yeah.
And, especially the solopreneur space.
Yes.
But I think it has to be one of those things that's said and reminded, not ad nauseum, but like in a meaningful way.
Yeah,
it's
for
important.
sure. How about
it
you,
helps
Pete?
when it helps when there's a really loud plane flying over. It helps when there's a leader that recognizes what the team is going through and what the team is being asked of already and what the team is doing already, what the team is juggling already.
Yeah.
And then the leader says, what can we do to make this a little bit more manageable for you? What can we do to make this handled a bit more smartly, a bit more efficient? That we've have an event that started last year. This will be the second year of this event. It's a music festival. And all the schools are encouraged to participate in it. But where it falls in our school year, that's when we're in the middle of our show. And
Oh gosh.
chorus is pretty much wrapped up at that point. And there's some not pressure, but it's everybody's encouraged. And I would like to bring our chorus, and it was brought up again. And I went to our leader, I went up to our administrator rather, and I said, hey, what do you think about this? They're going to be out of school for a day. We're going to have to add some extra practices. We need to pay for bus. We need to pay for accompanist. And before she said anything about, well, what I want or what I think is best for the school, or she's like, well, you're going to be in the driver's seat on this. What do you think? What do you know? And that meant so much to me. She says, I already know you're spread thin. Can we handle this? How can we do this? And then I said, well, I think we can if we do this, this, and this. I might need help with this, but I think we can manage it. And she said, well, then we'll be there with dolls on and we're going to make it happen. And gosh, that really meant a lot, because none of us in this field are afraid of hard work.
No,
none of us are afraid of hard. We just want to make sure it's done the best way possible, smartly, efficiently, and try to be healthy.
Yes.
Don't want to burn out. So that meant a lot. So having somebody to talk and listen and then think about things and then what do you think? Gosh, I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, kind of those two-way conversations, no matter what roles you're in.
Exactly.
Kind of like the here's your direction. I'm going to get out of the way so you can go do it.
I trust you. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
I hired you. You're with these kids all the time. Let's how can we do this best?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's great. That's a great example. Well,
I'm very thankful.
You know, we're not experts in this, only in the matter of that we are educators. We've been in the education world for a while. So these conversations, when we have them, is just really to, like Fred has always said at the beginning, is to kind of peel the curtain and take a peek right behind of the realities of it. So I'm sure, yeah, if you're watching the video, you're seeing Fred giving us almost a horror example of peeling something back. But yeah, I mean, this is just supposed to be that space where we can just share these kinds of things, kind of talk about the real, but at the end of the day, just motivate each other, right? And saying, keep going, you're doing great. Set those boundaries if you can. Make sure you're leaning on the people that got your back there at the school, and you've got this. This is gonna be a great second half to the semester. On Teachers Pep Rally, by the way, we've got some great guests coming up.
Oh.
So we're super excited about that. And if there's a topic or something you'd like us to talk about, please make sure that you reach out to us and let us know. We really do take your feedback to heart. Pete, where can people continue to find us and continue the conversation?
We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. Our website is teacherpeprally.com. And I think, and then please, wherever you're listening to us, like, subscribe, follow, leave us a review. Gosh, that would be so helpful.
That would be great. We appreciate you. And you've got this.
Bye-bye.
See you, everybody.